the fact is that this isn't actually about Andrew anymore.
In the US, which is now also really waking up to this news and saying that he has never seen a bigger threat to the future of the monarchy than what is unfurling right now.
We'll preface all this to say that when it comes to the monarchy, this is not the end. This Andrew situation, even if he's arrested, it's not going to end for the royals. In fact, there's going to be longer, greater, graver consequences, I think, perhaps to come down the line.
Britain just made a shocking move, arresting a royal police officer right on the king's private estate, handcuffs snapping on the brother of the current King of England. Breaking news hitting today, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is officially in custody. And meanwhile, 2 British royals lounging in a Montecito mansion are watching it all unfold, hoping that America stays blissfully asleep, eyes averted. Because if the US starts asking the same tough questions Britain did, everything Harry and Meghan have built could start unraveling fast. They know it, and it's making them nervous.
The problem for the king is there's an awful lot of pus which might come out as a result of doing that. So we've no idea what the evidence that might be revealed will say. But somebody said earlier on, and this is absolutely right, that once the legal process starts and searches are made, all sorts of other inconvenient facts might be revealed and lead in all sorts of directions, some of which we are not aware of at all as yet. So it's a very, very difficult situation for the entire royal family to be in.
Let's put this side by side, because no one on TV is connecting the dots clearly enough. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, born into privilege, raised in palaces, funded by public money, given access and doors ordinary people could never even dream of. This week, he was arrested, named by his own brother, treated like a private citizen, property searched, facing charges with a potential life sentence looming. Every wall that once protected him, gone.
Royal family attempted business as usual today, but of course, that just wasn't possible. By lunchtime, Buckingham Palace delivered a historic statement from King Charles, one he never wanted to release, given claims he contributed £1.5 million to pay off Virginia Giuffre, and given his decision to ludicrously try and bring Andrew and even Fergie back into the fold. But it was a historic statement which read,
Now look at Harry Mountbatten Windsor. Same birthplace, same palaces, same privilege, same rooms, same elite social world, moving through it at the same events and the same moments as Andrew. The difference between them isn't about character. It isn't about behavior. It's about location. Harry picked California, the one place in the world with almost no accountability for the biggest scandals of the generation. He didn't go to Canada, where Meghan lived, or Europe. He chose California, and nobody has ever asked him why. Harry's 20s are documented in detail. Wild parties in Las Vegas, photos that caused international headlines. But what's less talked about is the world around those parties. Harry wasn't hanging with ordinary people. He was moving through circles of extreme wealth, extreme access, the same kind of world now being shown in documents from the Department of Justice.
This is a fast-developing story, a story that even as a monarchist and a royalist is impossible to deny plunges the British royal family into a crisis not seen for 90 years.
During those years, Harry lived in Clarence House, later Kensington Palace. He attended the same royal events, private functions, and shared the exact same social universe as Andrew. They weren't distant. They were family, moving through the same institutions at the same moments. Andrew allegedly shared classified information with a powerful figure in that world. Meanwhile, Harry wrote a memoir detailing family arguments, private medical issues, but said nothing about that figure. Not a single line, not a denial, not a mention.
Today's arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor mean for the future of the British monarchy? What does it mean for Charles? What does it mean for William? What does it mean for Harry and Meghan?
He's never been asked under oath what he knew, never had to account for his knowledge during those years. And yet, Andrew is now facing full justice for his actions within the same environment. Harry has never been formally asked to confirm whether he was even part of that world. That kind of asymmetry should make everyone pause and think hard. Consider the timing, not the romantic story, but the facts. Harry and Meghan announced their departure from royal duties in January 2020. By then, the scandal surrounding certain high-profile figures was already massive and growing. Investigations were expanding fast, and anyone with access to skilled legal counsel, and Harry has always had the best, knew the walls were closing in on that entire network.
think the thing that is so fascinating about this story is that the British monarchy has always kind of looked for its enemies in external places. It's always looked at the mob, at Parliament, at foreign powers, at guillotines, at hangmen. Do you know what I mean? All those stories of the monarchy. And in fact, it turns out that over and over and over again, the real danger is from within. It's from these disgusting, entitled, abusive people within abusing their own power. And that is where the crises keep arriving from, keep coming from. You know, whether it's Andrew or Edward VIII or Harry or George, Duke of Clarence, you know, whoever you want to do, you can go back in time as far as you like.
They picked California for a reason. The FBI and the Department of Justice hold stacks of documents, evidence, and names linked to that world. And yet, people who appear in that evidence remain untouched on American soil. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan have spent the past 4 years embedding themselves in the uppermost tiers of American society. The celebrity tier, the philanthropic elite, the political donor circles. People who, historically, American institutions have been reluctant to scrutinize closely. Here's the legal reality. Harry's team counts on the fact that most people won't think about the connections between Britain and America. Yes, there's an extradition treaty. If Harry ever became relevant to a British investigation, not as a suspect, but as a witness with knowledge of palace conversations, formal mechanisms exist to request his cooperation, even from California. Complicated, slow, bureaucratic, but real.
I will ask you straight. Should Andrew Mountbatten Windsor testify?
Yes. Anybody who has any information should testify. So whether it's Andrew or anybody else, anybody who's got relevant information should come forward to whatever the relevant body is. In this particular case.
And Harry's lawyers know it. California is a fortress, but remember, Andrew also lived behind walls of privilege and family loyalty, and that fortress did not protect him. In a previous video, we looked at Meghan's past. Today, we focus on the present, something you can track and observe right now. Since arriving in America, Meghan has been building an empire. Netflix projects, a collapsed Spotify deal, the American Riviera Orchard, and the Archwell Foundation. Layered on top of this is a network of relationships designed to make her a permanent fixture in the most protected circles of California society. Look at who fills that world. Entertainment executives, tech billionaires, philanthropists who run foundations, and people who regularly appear in photos with heads of state.
I think that it had to have been planned for a while because there has been a lot of uprising around people in general in Great Britain. It's been, people have been seeing consequences.
Several names in Meghan's current network have quietly appeared in reporting connected to those past scandals. Not accused, not charged, but part of a network where extreme wealth and extreme privacy intersect. Serious investigators have noticed patterns. The people most visibly tied to charitable causes for children and women sometimes overlap with names that surface at the edges of these investigations. Meghan has constructed her entire American identity around those very causes. The Archwell Foundation raises huge sums. Its donor list is not fully public, and its connections reach deep into the California establishment that has surrounded the Sussexes since they arrived.
That statement from the lawyer was so smartly worded. It was vague, and it was vague by design. So that's why I think it was a warning to Meghan. If I sit here with my professional PR hat on, looking at that statement, they go through so many drafts, and it's, you know, up to kind of 5-10 people around a table drafting that. Every single word in a legal statement holds weight.
Who is funding it? Who benefits from Meghan staying relevant, credible, and shielded in that world? These are not accusations. These are questions worth asking. The deeper you look into this world, the more layers start to appear. Since arriving in California, Harry and Meghan haven't just settled into the sun and beaches. They've built a fortress of influence, visibility, and protection. Every move seems calculated, every connection strategic, and every partnership designed to keep them at the very top of society, where scrutiny rarely reaches. Think about it. Hollywood power players, tech billionaires, philanthropists, and political donors, all of them orbiting the Sussexes. People whose names rarely hit headlines but carry enormous influence.
Amazingly here, that question of misconduct in public office is what this all connects back to, because some of the suggestions have been that information that he may well have learnt in the privileged position of being the trade envoy.
Many of these individuals have connections to circles tied to past high-profile investigations. Not everyone is implicated, but the networks are tight, and the wealth is extreme. It's a world built on reputation, access, and discretion, where every handshake and every donation strengthens a shield around the family. Even their media presence is part of the strategy. Carefully curated interviews, high-profile documentaries, and selective memoirs, all designed to create a narrative that positions them as untouchable, yet relatable. Meanwhile, the questions that need asking, about past associations, the worlds they moved through, the people they knew, remain largely unspoken in public forums.
Andrew's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to be banished, just like Harry and Meghan have to be banished.
Why hasn't anyone pressed further? Because these social fortresses operate quietly, behind closed doors, and most institutions respect or fear the power that comes with extreme wealth. And this isn't just about celebrity or philanthropy. It's about influence that stretches across industries and countries. Meetings, gala appearances, donor lists, charity events, all tools to embed themselves permanently in the elite. Every connection strengthens credibility, every partnership reinforces protection, and every year that passes without scrutiny makes the walls around them stronger, the questions harder to ask, and the public further removed from the truth. If you want to understand the full story, you have to look beyond the headlines, past the social media images, and examine the ecosystem that keeps this family in a position few could ever reach.
The fact is that this isn't actually about Andrew anymore. This is now about what the king knew and when he knew it. And that is the question that destroyed Nixon. And I think that your viewers are completely right. I think we are on a road that could definitely lead to abdication.
Because in this world, power isn't just inherited or earned. It's strategically cultivated and carefully guarded. Serious investigators are now asking the hard questions. Every powerful network that existed near certain high-profile scandals deserves the same level of scrutiny as Meghan's network. Nothing can be ignored, nothing overlooked. This isn't just a story about royals, it's bigger than that. Your generation was taught that nobody is above the law, in school, in courtrooms, and then spent decades watching that promise shift depending on wealth and influence. You've seen it over and over. Ordinary people lose savings during crises while powerful figures walk away with bailouts, not handcuffs. You've watched industries protect predators for decades while people turned their heads, looked the other way, or stayed silent.
But also, if this will eventually lead to a charge, and he will be being told, Lady C, by his legal team to say nothing. Is that the right decision in this case?
Because of his position, because he still has his position whether he has the princely rank or not, he's still the second son of a reigning British monarch. I think that he has a responsibility not only to himself and his immediate family, but to the royal family itself. And in a situation like this, I suspect the wisest thing.
A man with access to presidents, billionaires, and royalty died under circumstances most reasonable people find impossible to believe. And this week, Britain arrested a royal, a man who believed his status, blood, and privilege would keep him untouchable. His own brother named him as a private citizen. Police entered the king's private estate. What was supposed to be impossible happened. That's why this week feels different, not because of one individual, but because it proves the walls of privilege can come down. Blood, titles, and money are not always enough to protect someone, which makes Harry and Meghan's ongoing immunity look even more striking. Not just unfair, institutions make active choices every day to look elsewhere, and your generation knows exactly what that means.
So he's being arrested over allegations of misconduct in public office. Now that carries with it the potential of life in prison. So it is a very, very serious charge indeed.
Here's something almost no one is reporting, and it matters for Harry and Meghan. Harry spent years carefully building political relationships in Britain, especially within the progressive Labour establishment. Politicians who amplified his claims, validated his narrative about the press, and framed the Sussexes' departure as brave rather than self-preservation are now facing intense scrutiny. Peter Mandelson, Senior Labour figure and former Deputy Prime Minister, the same man who helped appoint the British ambassador to the US, is under the microscope for his own past connections. His chief of staff has resigned, and the government is politically unstable. The May elections could be disastrous for Labour. Every figure who once gave Harry and Meghan credibility is now scrambling to distance themselves from anything connected to those high-profile scandals. The establishment that cheered the Oprah interview, celebrating Meghan as a victim and positioning Harry as a brave truth-teller, is now being consumed by the very scandal Harry thought he had left behind.
This is not a development I expected quite so quickly. I welcome it. It's in many ways long overdue. There's been so much evidence mounting against him. And I was very concerned that he would do a midnight flit and evade justice.
What once protected him, elevated him, and gave him credibility in the UK is collapsing before his eyes, and he's watching it unfold from California. Harry's ongoing legal battles in the UK, against the press, against the Home Office over security, are now playing out in a political environment that has completely unraveled in just 1 week. Allies are gone. The sympathetic government that once supported him is gone. And the administration arriving after May will have no loyalty to the arrangements that kept Harry's position manageable for years. He spent years building a political safety net in Britain, carefully weaving connections and influence into the establishment. This week, that network caught fire, and Harry is watching the flames from across the Atlantic. 9 separate investigations are reportedly underway, all connected to Andrew and the surrounding networks.
It somehow felt like a historic hammer blow all the same. On the morning of his 66th birthday, Thames Valley Police arrived en masse at the King's Sandringham estate to arrest his brother Andrew Mountbatten Windsor at the Wood Farm cottage occupied by the late Prince Philip.
Each investigation has the potential to bring in new names, new evidence, new documents, and new testimonies, expanding far beyond what anyone currently anticipates. Legal experts say what has been released so far is only a tiny fraction of the existing documentation. What's coming next is expected to dwarf everything we've already seen. Every document release expands the circle. Every expansion names more people. A new British government after May will face intense public pressure to act aggressively, unlike the previous administration, which was politically frozen. They will have every incentive to act quickly, publicly, and decisively. The extradition treaty remains quietly in place, a tool Harry's lawyers review constantly, because that's exactly what top lawyers do for a British national living in the US. While Andrew believed walls of royal blood, family loyalty, and adoring mothers would protect him, none of it held.
What the king knew and when he knew it. And that is the question that destroyed Nixon. And I think that your viewers are completely right. I think we are on a road that could definitely lead to abdication.
Harry and Meghan built walls of their own, fortified with elite lawyers and deep roots in America's most powerful circles. But this week, even those walls showed their first cracks. Small cracks, yes, but anyone who's watched a fortress fall knows that's always how it begins. Britain arrested a royal, proving that even the institution that protected its own for centuries can falter when one of its members is exposed to the law. And now, the first tiny cracks have appeared in walls that were thought unbreakable. While the world watches the UK's royal drama unfold, the true story is not just about titles or privilege. It's about influence, networks, and the cracks appearing in walls thought permanent. The arrest of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor sent shockwaves through Britain, but it's only the beginning. Investigators aren't stopping with one person. They are tracing every connection, every document, and every whisper of a link back to those networks. Every meeting, every handshake, every gala now takes on new significance.
That would have shown an even-handedness that would have been very comforting to those of us who would like to see this situation dealt with in an apolitical and a measured way that has nothing to do with politics. Because at the moment, you have the present government, which is in fact in a state of civil war with the centrist and right wing of the government, of the Labour Party, being gobbled up by the left wing, the Blue Group.
Harry and Meghan have spent years carefully positioning themselves in California, embedding into the highest tiers of society: tech billionaires, entertainment moguls, political donors, philanthropists, people whose wealth and influence create natural shields against scrutiny. This is a world where privacy is currency and influence can rewrite consequences. But even these walls, carefully constructed, are starting to show stress. Andrew's arrest proves that even royal blood and centuries of institutional protection cannot make someone untouchable. What was once untouchable is now under the microscope, and Harry's walls, though fortified by lawyers, media, and connections, have tiny fractures beginning to appear. The investigations underway in Britain are more than 9 separate inquiries. Each one has the potential to pull in more names, more documents, and more testimonies.
He said the cops also needed to move quickly because there are fears that papers had been destroyed since December. However, a lot of you have said, oh, Lowney wants to bring down the monarchy. He also said that this decision to arrest Andrew today will end up saving the monarchy.
Experts say what's been released is only a fraction of what exists. Every new document could connect to someone in Harry and Meghan's network, and every witness could provide information that reaches further than anyone anticipates. Public pressure is mounting, and a new British administration after May will likely treat accountability as an opportunity, not a burden. Every mechanism, every treaty, and every legal avenue exists to make sure no one is beyond the law, even if they are living thousands of miles away. Meanwhile, Meghan has been building an empire in America that intersects with some of the most influential social and philanthropic circles in California. Her foundation, media projects, and high-profile relationships are all part of a network designed to maintain relevance, credibility, and protection. But those same networks are populated by people who have appeared quietly in reporting connected to high-profile investigations. Not accused, not charged, but their proximity to power and wealth creates an ecosystem where every action, every connection, and every donation could become relevant under scrutiny. What's remarkable is how carefully Harry and Meghan curated their American life. Every public statement, every media appearance, every partnership was part of a broader strategy to remain untouchable. And yet, as Britain's royal institution faces unprecedented scrutiny, that strategy faces a new reality. The very systems that once elevated and protected Harry are now under fire, and the cracks in that protective wall are visible even from California. The same institutions that allowed influence to shield missteps for decades are now being forced to reckon with the law, public pressure, and international cooperation.
My first thought is that the King has made the statement that we heard just earlier. That does not surprise me at all. Not at all. He's head of state. He's at the apex. He is the crown in this respect. So were there to be a trial, were there to be a charge, it would be in the name of the crown of the king. But it would be in character as well. He made it very clear earlier that he would cooperate with the Thames Valley Police were there to be any questions that they would like him to answer. So I think that it demonstrates oddly, perversely, if you like, because people talk about the damage to the royal family.
The story unfolding isn't just about scandal, it's about the fragility of power and the inevitability of scrutiny. When walls are built on privilege, wealth, and influence, they may seem permanent. But history shows they can fall, and often the first cracks are small, almost invisible, until they widen into something unstoppable. Harry and Meghan's American fortress has long seemed secure, but Andrew's arrest, the rising investigations, and the shifting political landscape in Britain reveal a simple truth. No wall, no matter how well constructed, is unbreakable. The next chapters are unfolding, and every move, every connection, and every decision will be under the lens of a world finally ready to look closely at what was once hidden. By name, in public, without hesitation, 2 people in California are watching closely: Harry and Meghan. They built their American life on the assumption that the US would stay silent, that distance and influence would protect them. Outwardly, there's no panic. The lifestyle brand continues. The interviews continue. The public image remains perfectly polished. But behind the scenes, the calculations are intense. Lawyers are working, allies are reassessing, and the documents keep coming. Every new piece of evidence, every new report is being analyzed because the world they thought was untouchable is starting to feel a little closer. Look at the bigger picture. Andrew's arrest in Britain shattered centuries of assumed immunity. Royal blood, family loyalty, public privilege, none of it mattered. If those walls can fall for him, they could be tested for anyone. Harry and Meghan's American walls were built even higher. Powerful lawyers, celebrity influence, philanthropic networks, and deep ties to the most protected circles of California society. But even the strongest walls show cracks eventually. Every investigation in Britain, every new document, and every public revelation brings the possibility that the same spotlight could reach across the ocean. Think about the networks involved. From politicians in Britain who validated Harry's narrative to media allies who amplified their story, the establishment that once cheered them is now under pressure. Investigations, resignations, and political fallout have changed the landscape overnight. And in America, Meghan's philanthropic empire, media projects, and celebrity connections exist in a world of wealth and privacy, a world where scrutiny has historically been limited. But as the walls around the royal institution crumble, even these carefully curated defenses are being tested in ways that few could have anticipated. So here's what you need to ask yourself. Do you believe Harry knows more about Andrew's world than he's ever admitted? Do you believe America will ever act like Britain did, holding those networks accountable? These aren't just rhetorical questions. They are the central tension of the story. Every connection, every alliance, every high-profile partnership could be relevant as investigations expand. What seemed untouchable is now under the microscope, and the story is far from over. In fact, it has barely begun. And here's why it matters to you. This isn't just royal gossip or celebrity news. It's about how power, privilege, and influence operate across borders. It's about seeing the cracks in walls that seemed permanent and watching accountability start to ripple through systems that were once thought untouchable. Every report, every leak, every legal filing adds to the bigger picture, and the conversation doesn't end with this video. It's just starting. So, I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Harry and Meghan's walls will hold? Or are we just seeing the first cracks in what was supposed to be untouchable? Like this video if you want me to keep breaking these stories down, share it with friends so the discussion keeps going, and don't forget to subscribe to Crown Clash. I post a brand new video every single day, bringing you the latest updates, insights, and scandals from the royal world.